How's it going, everybody? Mr. Holton here, and I am finally back from my trip to Austin, Texas, to which I was so kindly invited by Wizards of the Coast in order to visit Archetype Entertainment. Yeah, I couldn't talk about this at all, actually, and I can't really talk about exactly my experience with Exodus, which is the game that you see right over there that I actually got to playtest. So again, this video, I will not be talking about any details because, yeah, it's not the time for that yet, let's just say. But I do want to talk about my experience going over to Austin. You may know that I was in Los Angeles in December for the Game Awards, which I was kindly invited by Archetype and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro to participate and talk to the devs for a bit, where I got introduced to Chad Robertson, Drew Karpyshyn, and Chris King. And now I got to meet them again, and I should probably just talk a little about the devs there. They're really cool people. I like them a lot because, of course, we got to hang out a little bit to create a connection, and I kind of, got to investigate a little bit and get a feel for who they are as people. And yeah, they're because I know people are curious, how are these people, especially, these three and the leaders, I would say. Because I would like to talk to some other devs as well, like Jesse Sky, for example, but I haven't got the chance yet. That said, though, Drew is just, as soon as you ask him a question, he's just so passionate when he's talking about, writing and character building and the universe building and lore. He's such a nerd. And if you're watching this, Drew, I speak that with the utmost love. He's, it's so cool to just hear him talk about things, talk about about his history at BioWare with Mass Effect 1 and 2 and Knights of the Old Republic. And, you can just talk with him for hours because he just keeps on yapping, and it's so fun to listen to because he's so filled with creative energy. He has so many ideas, and it's just, he's like an endless source of just really cool information. And, he's really a cool guy at the end of the day. And it's the same thing with Chad and Chris, man. These guys are so chill. I remember when I first met Chad at the Game Awards, or right before the Game Awards, when we got to talk to him. And I was actually a little spooked because Chad has this kind of poker face, he's pretty neutral at first when you meet him. And I actually told him that I was a little spooked by him in Austin. And he was like, "What, really?" And yeah, he's not at all. He's just super chill. He's also one of those just regular nerds, I would say. He's, he plays a lot of video games and he goes running and stuff like that. I felt like that was a cool thing to hear. This guy is, he's just a cool dude who just is passionate about the game they're making. He's also if you don't know who Chad, what he actually does, Chad Robertson, that is, he's kind of the head of the studio right now, but he's also the technical genius, I guess you could say. He is normally the one that has a history with technical stuff and making sure things work and that the devs have what they need and things like that. That's what he's doing now as well. He's also a numbers crunching guy. So he's the data guy, essentially. But he's also the overhead right now. Chris King, also just a really chill dude. When you're in the room with him, it's just going to be just a chill chat. He's also super nerdy, has a bunch of collectibles and a ton of games he's playing, and a huge backlog as well as most of us. So it's really cool to know that these guys are overall just gamers, just like any one of us. And they're just, they're not these immortal gods. I mean, they are legendary in a way for a lot of people in the games industry and for a lot of, BioWare fans and such. But overall, they're just really nice, cool, chill dudes who are just passionate about a bunch of things. Now, speaking about Texas, because I would imagine that some of you guys here are in Texas or you have been to Texas, and I know that a lot of my viewers are Americans, so you might wonder what my impression of Texas is. It is honestly really, really cool. It's hot as fuck, though. It's because Because again, if anybody doesn't know here, I'm from Sweden. So it's like, yes, we have somewhat hot summers, but it's like it usually maxes out at like 30 to 35 degrees Celsius. And we have a generally dry sort of humidity. So there's not a lot of humid air usually. And so we have very mild summers, I would say. It's been worse as the years goes by, but I was trying to prepare for the Texas heat, but man, you can't prepare for that because as soon as you step out of the airport or from the airplane, that you're hit with this wall of just like, oh, I can't breathe. I was like, oh my God, is this what it's going to be the entire time? And for the most time it was actually like the constant just, it's like this overpowering atmosphere that you have to breathe in. And there's a certain smell. It was the same thing with Los Angeles as well. Like it's this certain smell that just feels like you're in a different place. I don't know if that's just because of travel, but it's very different. And again, like the loudness, like people are so loud when they talk. It's not meant to be like a negative thing, but it's very, very different compared to Sweden because we have a very mellow atmosphere when you're talking. Usually you can talk at a bar, you can talk at a restaurant without having to yell. But when we're like eating out and stuff like that, you had to yell to actually hear each other. What did you say? Like Americans, man, you guys are loud as hell. It's very festive, I will say that. Like there's high energy all over the place. And all the people we met, all the people we ran into, it's just one of those things, because you're in the internet so much and you're online so much. It always feels like there's there's so much toxicity in the world. But when you're actually out meeting people in real life, like that's not how reality is. It's just, people are just generally kind. Like most people you just encounter, there's regular ass people, we were lost when we got out of the airport. We were like, oh my God, where we're supposed to go? We don't know how to get to the hotel, and weren't sure if we should, where we would go. And so we were like, but it doesn't seem like the hotel is that far away. So we're like, let's walk from the airport. So we walked for like 10 minutes until we were like, this heat is unbearable, man. And the sun was just frying our sensitive Swedish skins, right? And we had like slathered with a bunch of, UV factor and stuff, so, to get protected. But you can still feel it, man. And so we ran into these two Americans, and they were like the kindest people, and they were like road workers. I think they were like these guys who like worked in the heat. I was like, could you guys point us in the direction of where we're supposed to go? And they're like, but you can just take the bus over there. I can't do a Texas accent, but it was like, just super kind people. So yeah, we got the bus down. We got to the wrong hotel, which was in the downtown area. And so we were like messing around with that. So we had gone to the entirely wrong place. But then again, down in downtown in Austin, goddamn, I mean, again, those buildings, man, those high-rise towers, it's just insane. And just a lot of the, wow. It's a crazy experience seeing all that stuff that you've only seen like in movies and on YouTube and, stuff like that. And so when you're seeing it yourself, it's very majestic. It's like one of those, wow, like, it feels like I'm coming from a small little countryside from nowhere. It's essentially where I am at the moment. It's not nowhere, but it's like, in comparison, it just feels so small. It's the same thing when you're like flying and you're crossing the Atlantic, and then when you finally see some land because you're, getting into the border of the US, you see land and you're like, oh, finally land. But then it goes on for 2-3 hours and you're like, oh, yay, more land. It's so big. So it's like almost endless when you're like flying around. And I mean, the overall sensation I got is like Austin is huge. I thought it was going to be smaller for some reason, but goddamn, it's like, the distance that Austin stretches is like from the south side to the north side, and all of that is just Austin. It's just it stretches for forever, but it's not like everything is like a downtown area. There's like this, downtown area where there's a lot of high-rise city buildings and stuff like that, but then you get up until the northern side and there's a lot of green and there's a lot of roads, but it's so big. So yeah, man, it was an experience. We were visiting a couple of places. I also got to try barbecue culture as well. So we went to, I think it's Terry Black's Barbecue, which is this famous place that we had to try out. And again, like instantly when you enter, you get this shock of just, wow, this is so American. People just sitting down, sweating in the heat, and just eating meat with their hands. It was just kind of disgusting, but also really cool. And you have this loud country rock music playing in the radio or playing in the speakers, and we have like, it's almost like a cafeteria, right? Because you're supposed to grab some food, but they serve it like this, they just slather it onto your plate. The funny thing is that Terry Black's, they have like a Michelin star or something. So they're like recognized as one of the best, like in the type of food they do. It was good, but I don't think I've ever eaten so much meat as I did right there. And I was so full. And at the end of it, I felt so disgusting because it was just so dripped in. It's just meat, and it's so much, but it's delicious. It was also this, what's it called? Macaroni and cheese that you guys like over in the US. Mac and cheese, that is. It was also delicious. I've tried to eat it before, but it's never been good. This time it was like this creamy, really good, it was just really good, man. I don't know how to explain it. Just buttery, smooth macaroni with like this cheddar cheese sauce, kind of. It was really good. And then of course, like the meats, you just, you can just eat it right up the bat like that, up and down. Really cool, but again, like super packed. Tons of the most archetypical Texas Americans you could imagine. Just eating, and it's a really cool experience. And there were four of us. There was Dantix, was my brother, me, and Ben, who runs the channel Eric's Gaming. So if you guys know about Eric's Gaming, that's the guy behind it. So there were four of us, and we're chatting away and just eating. And I think all of us basically agree that this is probably the best barbecue or meat experience any of us had ever had. So it's wow. We don't have that stuff over here. That was one thing. And then we went to the Capitol. So there's this big building, right, in the middle of Austin that runs. I guess I don't know if it's like still the center of government in Texas, but it's just a big ass building with just a lot of political characters and governors that have like been in the house, and we saw a lot of history, and just we were climbing up the Capitol because there's like several different like levels to it. And for some strange reason, whenever we went up to the next level and the next level after that, like I got this vertigo feeling, right? I got this, I don't have really fear of heights, but I don't know if it's like the construction of being like a perfect circle when you're going up. But I was like feeling this weird draw. Now, I'm not suicidal, but I felt this weird draw to go over the ledge. I was like, why do I feel this weird? It was so weird, but also cool. We went up there, explored and checked it out, and took a bunch of photographs and filmed a bunch. So that was also really cool. We didn't really do too much aside from that because we were there to focus on the Exodus thing. So, but we were exploring for a bit, we were checking out some other corner, like a street where they had a bunch of cool stuff, like a candy store. In this candy store, they were also selling Swedish candy. And there was this bag called Swedish candy. I checked it out. And it's like, we don't have this. I've never seen this candy before. So it's like, I wonder if some stores just make up what is considered Swedish candy, but it's like stuff you've never seen. Maybe I'm just not that big of a fan of candy anymore. So maybe it's just I didn't recognize it because I don't really eat candy anymore. So Yeah, and still, again, not a fan of the American tipping culture, man. I think it's obligatory tipping is so fucking weird. It's I feel for the people in the service industry because they're needed, and they're not paid nearly enough. So yeah, again, a lot of pros and cons, but overall, it's a really fun experience. It is really cool, but I am already sick of flying. The flight home was, I think, 25, no, lazily over 30 hours. I had to travel for 30 hours home. So, I mean, in total, we were probably in the air for a maximum of like 20 hours, maybe. But it's still like you have to wait and wait and wait. And then you have to make sure that you're not missing your flight or making sure that, there's no delays. And if there is a delay, you have to there's just a lot of headaches in terms of traveling, and I'll keep doing it. I put up with it because obviously I want to go to these things, but it's not all fun and games, man. Like especially the flying, because it's so boring sitting on a plane for 10 hours. Like you have no idea. If you haven't flown that far, it is fucking boring, man. It is not the greatest thing. And if you travel a lot, you probably know that's not the greatest thing about like flying far. It's just so fucking boring. But I put up with it. I do. It's fine. I've shown a lot of pictures here. I hope that's enough for you guys to get like like a sort of idea of what it's like if you haven't been to Texas. It's a different world. It really is like a change of pace when you go to, especially Austin or Texas. You guys who live in Austin or in Texas, you should be pretty proud. It's a cool city. And I hope I get to visit at some point again. That would be really cool. Thank you for watching as always, guys. And yeah, I'll update you whenever that video is coming and whenever there's other stuff going on. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Mr. Holton signing off.